The Necromancer, one of the most feared builds in one of Larian's previous games, Divinity Original Sin 2, dealing insane amounts of damage without even trying. Now, one would assume, like in Divinity, you're going to have the same experience playing a Necromancer in Baldur's Gate. Yeah, no, that doesn't look quite the same, does it? Of course, you could now say that the Divinity Necromancer was more of a blood mage than a Necromancer anyway, and fair point to you, yet it still feels a bit underwhelming playing a Necromancer in Baldur's Gate. Anyway, I still enjoyed playing this build with its unique playstyle. And it's not like that the Necromancer will stay weak for the entire game. It's just that the Necromancer has a very slow power increase compared to other builds. But enough talking, let's get to it so you can see for yourself. For the races you can play whatever you want. There isn't a single race that gives you an advantage that's even worth mentioning. For our background we are going to play as the Dark Urge, because who better to play a Necromancer than our little necrophilic maniac. For our cantrips we take Mage Hand and Minor Illusion for utility, and Bone Chill because it's the only Necromancer cantrip. And I want to try to focus on Necromancer spells as much as possible. For our spells we mostly going to take utility spells that increase our survivability and movement. And of course we take the Ray of Sickness for our damage spell. Which is not even that bad actually, considering it got the chance to get some very high damage rolls. For our ability points we go for the standard 16, 14, 17 and then the 10 wisdom. Just moments ago we were enjoying ourselves in our daily necrophilia activities. But now we find ourselves inside a Nautiloid with a tadpole in our head. And after we swore vengeance on the traitor who put us in this situation, we just do what we do best. Touching random things in hope it solves all our problems. After we intentionally broke down the Nautiloid, we wake up on an unfamiliar beach. There we pick up Shadowheart, a half-elf who clearly isn't a Shah worshipper, which gets us to level 2. At level 2 we take the Necromancer subclass, which gives us the Grim Harvest ability. This ability will heal us whenever we kill an enemy using a spell. We also are now able to learn necromancy spells from scrolls for cheaper. For our spells we don't get anything interesting for this level. Of course Magic Missile would be the best pick here, but I don't want to pick it, otherwise I will just end up spamming Magic Missile for the entire game. So I just ended up picking Featherfall for more utility and Witchbolt to open the door that leads to Answer in Act 3. That is, if I'm even going to fight him as a Necromancer. Because somehow this doesn't sound like the best idea. But that's a problem for future Sleeping Dog. At the beach we jump up these rocks to avoid fighting the brains for now. On top we take Gale's helping hand and then make our way to the grove to beat up some goblins. There I was a bit greedy, wanting to save my spell slots for later. So Aradine ended up dying. Such a tragedy. Inside the grove we go on a quick shopping tour, buying some potions from our lovely auntie and the hunting shortbow from Damon. Furthermore, we force ourselves to save a child from a viper, because I'm a sucker for XP. Next, we head to the Blighted Village, and since we are a drow, the goblins there will cover in fear before us and let us pass, giving us enough XP to reach level 3. At level 3, we take Cloud of Daggers and Mirror Image. I said I wanted to focus on necromancy spells, but I need to be able to deal some damage somehow. Until I get the good necromancy spells at least. Which unfortunately will take a long time. At the Blighted Village we also will get our first summon. Everyone's favorite.
Your daddy!
With our first summon acquired, we now enter the hidden laboratory of its last master, where we get the Bracer of Defense for a +2 on our AC and pick up the Necromancy book. After that, we keep abusing the fact that we are a drow and tell the goblins that they are nothing but dirt beneath our feet, for a bunch of free XP. Arriving at the goblin camp, we buy the swordsy shoes and then take a quick trip to Vlaakith's west, where we save Councillor Floric to get the spell sparkler. Back at the goblin camp, we free Volo and put all our guts together to make the throw of our life.
You sort of fine.
We sneak past an ogre and pick this lock to climb down a very safe ladder into the Underdark. In the Underdark, we kill this Minotaur for more free XP and then make our way to the Myconid colony. There, we buy Melv's first stuff from Blurk, which we won't be able to use just yet. Unless, of course, you use this one instead of the Spell Sparkler, which arguably would be the better choice. But smart as I am, I obviously didn't do that. We also go to our camp, finishing Volo's quest and finally buy the Bless Ring from him, now that we have the money for it. After all this traveling, we are close to get to level 4, so all that's left to do for us is to commit a bit of murder to acquire the last missing XP points.
Better stay back. The strike could be relieving.
At level 4, we take the Friend's Cantrip to help us pass our conversation checks. For our spells, we again just take some utility spells. Misty Step and Invisibility. Coming to our first feat, we are going to take, you guessed it, the Dual Leader feat. This allows us to wield 2 stat 6 at the same time. With the Dual Leader feat, we are now strong enough to farm some hyena ears to stock up our speed potions. While farming, we also make our way to acquire our main armor piece for the first act. I'm innocent, I swear. She just died in front of my eyes. Truly. Anyway, on our next long rest, we are greeted by Mizoa, who rewards us for doing her pet's dirty work. The Infernal Robe gives us the Fire Shield ability, which causes enemies to take damage whenever they hit us. It also gives us a massive defensive boost, already increasing our base AC up to 20. With our new armor, it's now finally time to start killing all the goblins. We simply group them up using Minor Illusion and then pause the game and hit them with Cloud of Daggers. This will not start the fight immediately, unless someone dies from the Cloud of Daggers right away. Then we use Invisible Shuffle for the guaranteed surprise attacks. This tactic usually ends all fights in 2 to 3 turns. I just wish Shuffle would stop killing himself once the fight is over. Back at camp, we were daydreaming about all the warm corpses we just created. And yet, we were unable to use them to satisfy our dark fantasies. But then, a tiefling from the grove stepped forward and offered her body for our cause. Naturally, we accept her offer, and once everyone went to sleep, we indulged ourselves at her corpse. Truly a terrific night. On the following night, Sceleritas Fell, our butler, finally managed to find us. It was about time.
Milady? Jubilant day! I have found your vile self at last!
And he brings us a part of our inheritance, the Deathstalker Mantle. Or, how I like to call it, the most broken cloak of the entire game. Every time we kill an enemy, we become invisible for 2 turns, which essentially protects us from all attacks for 2 turns. The next day, we kill the remaining goblins inside the temple. At the prison, we also meet Halsin, the druid everyone is so desperate to find. He tells us that he will help us get rid of the parasite inside our head if we kill the leaders of the goblins. We accept his deal and make our way to Mintara, the drow leading the goblins.
She sees the entrance to the grove as the adventurers retreat inside, joining the tieflings, and then smiles serenely as blood and shadow spread like stains across your memory, erasing all that lived there. The masterful painting she depicts of the massacre awakens you hungrily.
And when they are dead, the Absolute will reward your faith. As will I.
Never mind. Her deal is way better than that of this druid. What was his name again? Whatever, we are going to raid the grove. But before we can raid the grove, we need to prepare ourselves accordingly. First, we need to kill Kara and finish our little side quest of stealing the druid's idol for some tiefling kit. After finishing this quest, we get the Ring of Protection, even further improving our defensive stats. Next, we go into the spider cave, where we kill the first wave of spiders and then sneak past the big one and pick up the dark amethyst.
I feel a breeze. I wonder what's down there.
Using the dark amethyst, we can now open and read the Necromancy book. Reading it, we have to succeed the first 2 saving throws and we get the ability to speak with the dead and the Forbidden Knowledge passive feature. Now, all that's left to do before we can finally raid the grove is to kill all the remaining Gnolls and Goblins at the surface to get to level 5.
Took a light.
At level 5, we get the Animate Dead ability, which allows us to raise an undead servant from a corpse. When raising an undead servant, you have the choice between a zombie and a skeleton with a bow. And I have to say, even though the skeleton has the higher base damage, most of the time the zombie is the way better pick. This is because of his Undead Fortitude ability. He is actually somewhat tanky. Also, when he's attacking, he will always inflict the Crawling Gnaw condition on an enemy for 1 turn. And when an enemy dies while this condition is still active, he will turn into a newborn zombie that will fight for you. Raiding the grove is a lot easier than trying to defend it, since you outnumber them by quite a bit. Yet, the first part of the raid on top of the wall can still be quite dangerous, at least if you're playing solo. This is because of Zephlor. He actually can kill you in 1 turn if he gets some good hits. The reason for this is simply that he is a paladin and Divine Smite is broken. He also will always start somewhat close to you, since he will run towards you in the cutscene and confront you of your betrayal. That's why you can see me here trying to use my summons to block him from attacking me. Once you kill Zephlor, the rest of the raid is basically just running forward and killing everyone.
The way is clear. Now we can cleanse this place completely. Kill everyone.
Very well.
She said everyone. After we satisfied our lust for blood, we rejoin with Mintara for our second reward. Some quality time with her. I mean, who cares about some parasite inside their head if you can have hair?
And you shall have me.
Ah, yes. She also tells us how we can reach Moonrise Towers. But who cares? This was not the reason why we helped her. And don't pretend otherwise. Back in the Underdark, it's now time that we quickly finish our business there. So we recruit Glad and then take him to the Selûnite outpost. In front of the outpost we have a Minotaur corpse that we can immediately use to get a top tier summon. With the Minotaur on our side, taking out the enemies in the Underdark becomes incredibly easy due to its massive damage output. Who was that guy again? Whatever, he is dead now.
First druid, and now last druid. Thanks to me.
Now, the last thing we do before leaving this part of the Underdark is to go to the Arcane Tower, using an invisibility potion to get past the defenses and then tell Bernard to give us the ring that leads to the basement.
You do not believe the secret shell. Reveal the truth. Do what you wish to see.
There we pick up the ingredients to finish Omelium's quest and take the Staff of Arcane Blessing, which we are going to use instead of the Spell Sparkler. Once we finish Omelium's quest, we also buy the Boots of Stormy Clamor from him. At the Grim Forts we strike a bargain with Buthra to get some allies in the fight against Nere. At the start of the fight we climb up this ladder to take the high ground and push this Drager up. In this position you are somewhat safe from the enemy's attacks, because they tend to focus their attacks on the enemies closest to them. Now we just stay in this position, trying to take out the low HP enemies and watch how our allies get thrown into lava. Unsurprisingly, using this tactic, Nere is the last enemy to stand. But we outnumber him 5 to 1. So what could possibly go wrong? Yeah, this genius just killed everyone, achieving nothing in the progress. Still, Nere is way too far away to pose any real threat to us, and we take him out before he can get close to us. With Nere dead, we go deeper into the forge in search for the Adamantine Forge. There we meet some magic armors, and since they are magic, it's actually pretty simple to take them out. Simply drop a Susa flower next to them. This will stun them, making them unable to take any actions. Now you can simply take them out, however you like. At level 6 we get Undead Thrall, better summons and additional undead abilities. These abilities will make our undead summons stronger as we are leveling up, and we are now able to summon 2 undead 7s at the same time instead of only 1. Also, we now have the Animate Dead spell as one of our standard spells, which opens up one of our spell slots that we can use for something else. For our spells we take Haste because Haste is always useful, and Vampiric Touch because it's the only Necromancy spell. Going into the fight against Gyrm, we use Invisibility on Shuffle and position our zombies on this platform, so they can destruct the methods. For our own pre-boss, we use a level 3 False Life for more HP and Mirror Image, which puts our AC to 30. Once the fight started, we immediately run to this spot and end our turn. This will cause Gyrm to walk towards us and then stop right beneath the big hammer. Now you can hit him twice with the hammer for free, before he will be able to take any actions again. After this first initiative, we simply keep teleporting ourselves beneath the hammer, baiting him to put himself beneath it. And with our high armor, there's also little risk in this strategy. Even if he would succeed in surpassing our 30 AC, we still have the shield reaction, which would put another 5 points on top. Once we took down Gyrm, it's now finally time to take on Auntie Ethel. But before we go to her, we pay Lump 500 gold so he will fight for us, just in case if things go really bad. On entering her lair, we leave one of her guards alive so that she wastes her first turn summoning this guard. Going into the fight, we drink an elixir of vigilance, so we hopefully get the first move against her. We then use See Invisible so we can see her, haste for the extra action point and armor, and last but not least, invisibility so we can get close to her. Additionally, we put our summons on this exact spot, because this is the spot where Auntie will summon her one guard that we left alive. So hopefully we can immediately kill this guard and get a free newborn zombie. Once we revealed her, we drink a health potion to bless ourselves and then use one of the 2 Blight Scrolls I bought beforehand to initiate the fight. Since this attack happened outside of combat, she will not immediately trigger her legendary ability, even though I used a spell. On the second attack, she then will trigger her legendary ability like normal. Now it's actually pretty easy to find out who the real one is. As you can see, 2 of them have both the Hark's Trickery and Wild Magic Shirt's abilities showcased, while the other one only has the Hark's Trickery displaced. Of course, in this case she also still has the revealed condition, but assuming this wouldn't be the case, this is how you can find out who's the real Hark, when she's using the Wild Magic Shirt's reaction. Even when you know who the real one is, you still should try to kill her mirrors whenever you can, assuming you can't get her to surrender. Unfortunately, I missed my offhand attack here, but this is the perfect situation for Invisible Shuffle to save the day.
Come, darlings. Help Auntie.
For a moment I considered to use my zombies to attack the Hark, since she already was close to surrendering. But then I thought better to try to kill her guard, because they only have a 50% hit chance, and since I have the first move, I will be able to kill her next turn anyway. Shit. Luckily, her mirrors still need 1 turn until they can act, so they are not a real threat. To find out who the real Hark is, we can use the same trick as before. This time though, everyone will have both abilities displayed. But the order how they are displayed is still different. As you can see, they all have the Hark's Trickery ability displaced first, and the Wild Magic Shirt's second. Except one, who has the Wild Magic Shirt's ability displayed first. And that's the real Hark. Another way how you could find out who is the real Hark is by looking at the turn order. In case you have the first move, the real Hark should always have the move right after you. Though I don't know how consistent this strategy is when you don't have the first move. I need to test this at some point. Anyway, the Hark surrenders and we take a deal to gain more power, increasing our intelligence by 1 from the Harkware. Arriving at the Crèche, we use the same tactic we used against the Goblins. Group them up using Minor Illusion, pause the game, hit them with Cloud of Daggers, and then use Invisible Shuffle for the guaranteed surprise attacks. Inside the Crèche, we buy the Daredevil gloves from the gift trader to increase our hit chance. At level 7 we get Blight, our first good necromancy spell, which has a very good potential damage output. And since this is a saving throw spell, it also can't miss. This actually goes for all the high level necromancy spells, so going forward with this build, it's actually going to be very important to get our spell save DC as high as possible. Now that we have reached level 7, it's time to go into our last fight for the first act. We show the Kithrak that we have the artifact they search, so she lets us see the Inquisitor. Before we go into the fight, we drink an elixir of vigilance to guarantee our first move. We then group them up using Minor Illusion and initiate the fight using a level 3 Cloud of Daggers. I then use my Ice Storm scroll for some massive AoE damage, and therefore guarantee that all the guild, except the Inquisitor, will at least die to the Cloud of Daggers in the next 2 turns. The Deathstalker Mantle is also now coming into play here, and it turns me invisible, protecting me from the Mindclaw Sword. On the next turn we hit the Inquisitor with Blight and Way of Sickness. After that I use invisibility to get away from his second Mindclaw Sword. I will use my next turn since I didn't refill my speed potion, but that's not a problem since my summons can keep fighting for me. So on the next turn I position my last zombie behind the Cloud of Daggers and turn Shovel invisible. So the Inquisitor will hopefully jump through the Cloud of Daggers trying to kill my last zombie.
In Vlaakith's name.
On the following turn I do the same thing with Shovel. I could have tried to kill him there using a speed potion, but there's no guarantee I will hit him. Also, if I'm too close to him, he might go for me instead of Shovel. So better play it safe, teleport away and then finish him off the next turn. After we defeated the Inquisitor, we get Vlaakith to bow before us, as it should be. We then enter the Astral Prism and refuse to kill our Dream Visitor.
It seems I was right to put my faith in you after all. Thank you.
Yeah, let's hope we won't live to regret this. Now that we refuse Vlaakith's wish, all the Githyanki in the Crèche will try to kill us, and I really don't want to fight them all. And I don't have to. We simply go to the west side of this room and turn some statues, which will then open a secret door. And the secret chamber behind this hidden door no longer counts as hostile territory, so we can simply teleport away instead of trying to fight our way out. Thank you for watching. As I already mentioned in the last community post, I will now try to post these videos more often. So hopefully there will be a new video every 2 weeks from now on. I won't promise anything though. If it takes longer, it's going to take longer. I don't want to post any unfinished videos because of a deadline. That's all. See you in 2 weeks.